The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. Kate Morgan sat at her desk in NASA's Communications Center, scanning the usual space noise when her computer beeped with an alert. The pattern was unlike anything she had seen before, too regular, too precise to be natural. "Hey Joe, come look at this," she called to her colleague. Joe Fletcher looked over her shoulder at the screen. "That's weird. Where's it coming from?" he asked. Kate checked the coordinates. "Somewhere near Alpha Centauri, but it's moving. Whatever sent this is heading toward our solar system." For 3 days, Kate and her team worked to decode the message. They barely slept, fueled by coffee and the excitement of possibly making the greatest discovery in human history. On the 4th day, they cracked it. "It's a greeting," Kate said, her voice trembling. "And an announcement. They call themselves the Galactic Council, and they want to meet us." Within hours, the president was informed. Within days, the United Nations called an emergency session. The world's leaders gathered in New York, arguing about how to respond to the aliens who were now only weeks away from Earth. John Harmon watched the heated debate from his seat in the back of the UN chamber. As America's top diplomat, he knew he would be called on soon. John was tall with graying hair at his temples and steady hands that never seemed to shake, even now. "We need someone to lead our response team," the Secretary General announced. "Someone with experience in difficult negotiations." All eyes turned to John. He nodded once, accepting the role that would change his life, and possibly all of humanity. "The aliens will arrive in 26 days," John told the hastily assembled team in their new headquarters. "We need to be ready." Diane Rossi, a colonel with short brown hair and eyes that missed nothing, spoke first. "My people are tracking their ship. It's big, really big." Paul Winters pushed his glasses up his nose. As the world's leading expert in language and communication theory, he had been pulled from his university office with barely an explanation. "I've been studying their messages," he said. "They use a mathematical base that suggests highly logical thinking patterns." Maya Patel, a brilliant biologist specializing in extreme environments, looked up from her tablet. "We need to prepare for any biological differences. Their atmosphere, biology, even their concept of time might be completely different from ours." "Not to mention their intentions," Diane added quietly. The world changed as news of the aliens spread. Some people panicked, emptying store shelves and filling churches. Others celebrated in the streets, believing a new age of prosperity was coming. Most just watched the sky with a mixture of hope and fear. Kate joined John's team as their communications expert. She showed them the newest message from the council ship. "They're asking permission to land," she explained. "They say they represent 42 different spacefaring civilizations, and they want to evaluate Earth for potential membership." "Membership in what exactly?" John asked. "They call it the Galactic Alliance. According to them, it's a cooperative of species that share resources, technology, and protection." On the day of landing, John and his team stood on a specially prepared field in Switzerland, chosen for its political neutrality. The alien ship descended slowly, a massive silver oval that reflected the clouds and mountains below. When the ship's doors opened, the aliens emerged. The Centauri, as they called themselves, were tall, elegant beings with silvery skin and eyes that seemed to shift color in the light. Their movements were graceful, almost musical. The lead alien stepped forward and spoke in perfect English. "Greetings, people of Earth. We have traveled far to meet you. The Galactic Council welcomes humanity's first steps into the greater community of worlds." John stepped forward, extending his hand as he had been instructed. "On behalf of Earth, we welcome you and look forward to learning about the Galactic Council." The alien tilted its head, studying John with curious eyes. "And we look forward to learning about you, John Harmon of Earth. The evaluation begins now." The Swiss mountain air felt cool as John and his team led the Centauri delegation to a large white tent set up for the initial meetings. 5 aliens had come down from their ship, each moving with the same fluid grace that made humans look clumsy by comparison. "Please, be comfortable," John said, gesturing to specially designed chairs that the engineering team had made based on the aliens' physiology. The lead centauri, who called himself Val, nodded. "Your hospitality is noted in our assessment." Maya Patel studied the aliens carefully. Their silvery skin seemed to shimmer under the lights. They had no hair, and their long fingers ended in what looked like small pads rather than nails. She noticed they breathed less frequently than humans. "The Galactic Council has existed for 12,000 of your Earth years," Val explained. "We bring order and advancement to this sector of the galaxy." Paul Winters leaned forward. "You mentioned 42 civilizations. Are they all like you?" Val made a sound that might have been a laugh. "No. The Council includes many forms of life. Some breathe different elements. Some live in water or extreme heat. The Centauri serve as diplomats because our biology is adaptable to many environments." Diane Rossi watched the aliens' movements, noting how they always kept their hands visible. A military courtesy or something else. "What exactly does this evaluation involve?" John asked. "We will study your history, technology, social structures, and resource management," Val said. "All species have flaws. The question is whether your potential outweighs your limitations." Kate Morgan noticed how Val's eyes darted to the mountains outside whenever the word resources was mentioned. She made a mental note to check the geological surveys of the area. The meeting lasted 6 hours. When the aliens returned to their ship for the night, John gathered his team in a secure room. "First impressions?" he asked. "They're holding back information," Kate said immediately. "Their communications include frequencies our equipment barely detects. They're sending data to their ship that they're not sharing with us." "Their biology is fascinating," Maya added, "but something feels off. Their reactions to our atmosphere weren't consistent with what they told us about their home world. They asked a lot about our military capabilities and natural resources," Diane said. "Not much about our art or philosophy." Paul nodded in agreement. "Their language contains subtle layers. The translator is missing nuances. When they say evaluation, the secondary meaning is closer to assessment of value." John paced the room. "So they're evaluating us, but not necessarily for membership as equals." The next morning, the aliens requested tours of different Earth facilities. They visited power plants, mines, and military bases. They showed particular interest in Earth's water and rare metals. 1 week into the evaluation, Val requested a private meeting with John. "Your species is interesting," Val said. "You have achieved much despite your short history. But the Council has concerns." "What concerns?" John asked carefully. "Your wars, your pollution, your rapid consumption of resources. These suggest instability." Val's fingers tapped lightly on the table. "Many Council members question whether humans are ready for full membership." John felt a chill that had nothing to do with the room temperature. "What alternatives does the Council suggest?" "There are different levels of association," Val explained. "For younger species, we offer protection agreements. The Council would guide your development, provide limited technology, and ensure your safety." "In exchange for what?" John asked. Val's eyes shifted color, from blue to a deep purple. "Access to your system's resources, of course. The Council operates on fair exchange. We would establish mining operations in your asteroid belt, on your moon, perhaps some of your less populated areas." John kept his face neutral. "I see. And who would make decisions about Earth's future under this arrangement?" "The Council would vote on matters affecting Earth," Val said smoothly. "Eventually, humans might earn limited representation." As John walked back to his team afterward, his steps were heavy. The aliens weren't looking for new members. They were looking for new territory. John shared Val's proposal with his team in their secure meeting room. Everyone looked worried. "They don't want partners. They want our resources," Diane said, her jaw tight with anger. Kate pushed her computer screen around to show everyone. I've been monitoring their ship's transmissions. They're scanning Earth constantly, mostly focusing on mineral deposits and energy sources. We need to know more about these protection agreements, John said. Paul, can you learn anything from their database? Paul nodded. They gave us limited access to council records as part of the cultural exchange. I'll see what I can find. Maya stood up. I need to get onto their ship. There's something strange about their biology that I can't figure out from our brief meetings. That's risky, John warned. I can get her in, Diane offered. They invited me to tour their defensive systems tomorrow. I'll create a distraction while Maya takes readings. The next day, Diane and Maya boarded the alien ship. Diane kept the Centauri officers busy with questions about their weapons technology, while Maya slipped away with a small scanner hidden in her pocket. Maya moved quickly through the curved hallways, taking readings of the air, surfaces, and any biological traces she could find. In a room that looked like a medical bay, she discovered something surprising. Genetic samples from dozens of species, including humans. Meanwhile, back at headquarters, Paul searched through the Council's records. He found information about other planets that had accepted protection agreements. None of them ever advanced to full Council membership. Instead, they became resource worlds, providing materials to the Council while receiving minimal benefits. Most disturbing were references to species that had refused Council terms. These entries were heavily restricted, but Paul managed to find fragments. One planet called Teres had declined protection. Shortly after, a natural disaster had destroyed their major cities. The Council then established emergency oversight of the surviving population. Kate made another discovery while analyzing the aliens' communication patterns. They're reporting to someone else, she told John. The Centauri aren't the real decision-makers. They're just the friendly face of the Council. That evening, John met with world leaders via secure video call. He explained what the team had learned. They're offering us a deal we can't accept, he said, but they may not take rejection well. The United Nations Secretary General looked grim. How much time do we have? Val says the Council expects our answer in 3 weeks, John replied. But more Council ships are already entering our solar system. The next morning, John confronted Val during their scheduled meeting. We've been researching the Council's history with other species, John said calmly. I'm curious about a planet called Teres. Val's skin color shifted slightly, a reaction John hadn't seen before. That information is not relevant to Earth's evaluation. I think it is, John pressed. They refused your protection and then suffered convenient disasters. Val stood, suddenly looking taller and less friendly. The Council ensures galactic stability. Sometimes difficult decisions must be made for the greater good. Are you threatening Earth? John asked directly. Not at all, Val said, his voice smoother than before. We offer guidance to developing worlds. But the galaxy is dangerous. Unprotected planets face many risks. Later that day, Maya shared her findings with the team. The Centauri are not what they seem, she explained. Their biology shows signs of extensive genetic modification. They weren't born this way. They were designed to be diplomats. Designed by whom? Kate asked. I don't know, Maya said. But I found human DNA samples in their labs. They're studying us very carefully, looking for weaknesses. Diane added her own discovery. Their ship has weapons capabilities far beyond what they showed me. They could destroy our major cities within minutes. John looked out the window at the alien ship hovering in the distance. We need to buy time, he said. And we need a plan that doesn't end with Earth becoming their newest mining colony. More Council ships arrived over the next few days. 7 large vessels now orbited Earth, their sleek shapes visible from the ground as bright moving stars. News channels showed them constantly, and people around the world watched the sky with growing worry. John was called to an emergency meeting at the United Nations. Representatives from every country filled the large room, their faces showing fear, anger, and confusion. The Centauri have made their official offer. the Secretary General announced. They have presented the full terms of their protection agreement. A document appeared on screens around the room. John read it carefully. The terms were now spelled out in detail, and they were worse than he had expected. Under the agreement, Earth would receive limited medical technology that could cure several major diseases. Humans would get access to basic space travel within their solar system. The Council would prevent any natural disasters like asteroid impacts. In exchange, the Council would take control of mining operations on the Moon, Mars, and all asteroids. They would also establish bases in remote areas of Earth to extract specific resources. Most troubling was the section on governance. All decisions about Earth's future would be made by Council vote. Humans would have a single representative who could speak but not vote for the first 100 years. "This is not an offer," John said when asked to give his assessment. "This is a takeover with a few small benefits to make it look fair." The room erupted in debate. Some nations argued that the medical technology alone was worth accepting the deal. Others insisted that humanity should never give up its independence. A few suggested fighting, though everyone knew Earth's weapons were no match for the alien ships. "They have given us 30 days to decide," the Secretary General said. After that, they claimed they cannot guarantee our safety from other threats in the galaxy. John returned to his team with the news. "We have 1 month to find a way out of this situation." "What if we stall for time?" Kate suggested. "Ask for modifications to the agreement." "That might work temporarily," Paul said. "But from what I've found in their records, the Council doesn't change its standard terms." Diane looked up from her tablet. "My contacts say China and Russia are already developing new weapons to target the alien ships. They won't work, but it shows how divided we are." "We need to be unified," John said firmly. "A divided Earth is exactly what the Council wants." Maya had been quiet, studying her findings from the alien ship. "I've been analyzing their biological data," she said. "The Centauri have enhanced abilities, but they also have weaknesses. Their modified DNA is unstable in certain conditions." "How does that help us?" John asked. "I'm not sure yet," Maya admitted. "But no species is perfect. The Council presents itself as all-powerful, but they must have limitations." Over the next week, protests broke out across the world. Some people demanded that Earth accept the alien offer, fearing the consequences of refusal. Others insisted on independence at any cost. Violence broke out in several cities. Vol requested another meeting with John. "Your people seem divided," Vol observed. "This is common among young species. It is why guidance is necessary." "Humans value their freedom to disagree," John replied. "We make our own choices, even difficult ones." Val's expression changed slightly. "The Council has noted increasing military activities in several of your nations. This is concerning." "People are afraid," John said simply. "They need not be," Vol said smoothly. "Council protection ensures safety." "At what cost?" John asked. "We've seen what happened to other worlds under your protection. They provide resources but never advance. They serve the Council but never join it as equals." Vol stood, his tall form suddenly imposing. "The Council's patience has limits, John Harmon. Your species cannot survive alone in a dangerous galaxy. There are forces you do not understand." "Then help us understand as partners, not as subordinates," John countered. "That is not how the galaxy works," Vol said coldly. "You have 23 days remaining to accept our generous offer. I suggest you persuade your leaders to be reasonable." With the deadline growing closer, John's team worked around the clock. They set up a secure underground facility where they could speak freely without fear of alien monitoring. "I found something important," Kate said, showing everyone her computer screen. "Look at these energy readings from the Council ships." The screen showed spikes of unusual energy patterns around the alien vessels. "What are we looking at?" John asked. "They're harvesting something from Earth," Kate explained. "Not physical resources yet, but some kind of energy. I think it's related to our sun and how it interacts with Earth's magnetic field. Paul added his own discovery. I've been digging deeper into Council records. They classify worlds by resource types. Earth is listed as a Class A energy world. Very rare and very valuable. So this isn't just about minerals, Diane said. They'd want our planet's energy. Maya had made progress with her biological research. I've analyzed their DNA structure more carefully. The Centauri and probably other Council species can't handle certain radiation types that humans have evolved to live with. Our planet's unique. John considered all this information. If Earth is special, that gives us leverage. But we still can't fight them, Diane pointed out. Their weapons technology is centuries beyond ours. Maybe we don't need to fight, John said slowly. Paul, have you found any mention of species that successfully negotiated with the Council on their own terms? Paul looked through his notes. There's a brief reference to something called the Solari. They're mentioned as non-standard associates, but the files are restricted. Keep looking, John urged. We need examples of anyone who dealt with the Council without becoming servants. Meanwhile, around the world, governments prepared for various outcomes. Some built shelters. Others attempted to communicate directly with the Council ships, offering separate deals. A few tested new weapons despite international agreements not to provoke the aliens. United Nations discussions grew more heated. Some countries wanted to accept the Council's offer immediately. Others insisted on fighting even against impossible odds. A growing number supported John's approach of finding a third option. 17 days before the deadline, Kate made a breakthrough. She had been analyzing communications between the Council ships and discovered a pattern. They're arguing among themselves, she told the team excitedly. The Council isn't as unified as they want us to believe. Some factions want to deal more fairly with Earth, others want to take resources by force. Can we use these divisions? John asked. Possibly, Kate said, if we can communicate directly with the moderate factions. Diane had been coordinating with military leaders worldwide. She reported that global defense forces had quietly united under a single command structure, ready to respond together if needed. Not to fight a hopeless battle, she explained, but to show we can act as one planet if threatened. Maya worked with scientists around the world, sharing her findings about the Council's biology and technology. Together they made an important discovery. We've identified energy frequencies that disrupt their communication systems, she reported, and we found ways to shield our own technology from their scanning. They're advanced, but not invincible. John brought all these findings to a private meeting with world leaders. The Council thinks we're primitive and divided, he said. That's actually our strength. They expect us to either submit or fight stupidly. We'll do neither. What's your plan? The U.S. President asked. We use what makes humans special, John replied. We adapt. We innovate. We find unexpected solutions. And if that fails, asked another leader. Then we stand together, John said firmly. The next day, John requested a meeting with Val. This time, he brought his entire team. We've been studying the Council carefully, John told the Centauri diplomat. We have questions about your energy harvesting activities in Earth orbit. Val's color changed slightly. Those operations are standard procedure. Not according to your own regulations, Paul said, showing a document from the Council archives. Class A energy worlds require special protocols and fair compensation. For the first time, Val looked uncomfortable. How did you access those records? John smiled slightly. Humans are curious. And we learn quickly. Val recovered quickly from his surprise. You misunderstand the situation. Earth's classification is preliminary. We don't think so, Kate said. We've detected energy harvesting operations from all 7 of your ships, according to your own rules, that requires consent and compensation. Val's eyes darkened. This conversation is not productive. The Council's offer remains the same. You have 14 days to accept our protection. After Val left, John turned to his team. He's worried. That's good, But we need more leverage. I have an idea, Maya said. What if we demonstrate that humans can be valuable partners, not just a resource? The next day, Maya presented Vol with research that combined human medical knowledge with council biology. We've developed a treatment that might stabilize the genetic problems in Centauri DNA, she explained. Vol examined her data with obvious interest. How did you achieve this so quickly? Humans approach problems differently than the council, Maya said. We make creative leaps that your more structured methods might miss. For the next week, John's team continued this strategy. Paul showed the Centauri new ways to translate complex languages. Kate demonstrated communication techniques that required less energy than council methods. Diane presented defensive strategies that used minimal resources. Each demonstration made the same point. Humans could be valuable allies rather than just a resource to exploit. Meanwhile, more council ships arrived in orbit. There were now 12 massive vessels circling Earth. News reports showed people stocking supplies and building shelters, afraid of what might happen when the deadline arrived. 10 days before the deadline, a new development changed everything. A different alien ship entered Earth's orbit, smaller than the council vessels but clearly advanced. It positioned itself between Earth and the council fleet. Who are they? John asked when Vol demanded an emergency meeting. Irrelevant, Vol said, but his color had changed to a deep purple that John had never seen before. Did you contact them? We don't even know who they are, John said truthfully. Kate burst into the room. Sorry to interrupt, but we're receiving a transmission from the new ship. They want to speak with Earth's representatives and the Council. On a large screen, a new alien appeared. It looked nothing like the Centauri, with reddish skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. I am Nexer of the Solari Cooperative, the alien said. We detected unusual Council activity in this sector. We came to observe. Vol stepped forward. This is a standard evaluation. Solari presence is unnecessary. Nexer seemed amused. The Council rarely sends 12 ships for a standard evaluation. We are curious about this world that has attracted so much attention. John introduced himself. We welcome all peaceful visitors. The Solari are mentioned in Council records, but information was limited. I am not surprised, Nexer said. We chose a different path than most species. The Council prefers obedient client worlds. We preferred independence. Val's voice was cold. The Solari made choices that limited their advancement. Did we? Nexer asked. Our technology matches yours. Our worlds are healthy. We trade fairly with 50 systems, including some council members who appreciate our methods. John saw an opportunity. We would like to learn more about these alternatives. This is not proper procedure, Vol objected. Earth must first respond to the Council's offer. Actually, Paul said, checking his tablet, Council Regulation 5297 allows for third-party observation of negotiations with newly contacted species. Vol looked at Paul with new wariness. You have studied our laws thoroughly. Knowledge is valuable, John said simply. Later, speaking privately with Nexer via secure channel, John learned the truth. The Solari had faced the same protection offer 300 years earlier. Instead of accepting or fighting, they had found a third option. We proved ourselves too valuable as independent partners to simply conquer, Nexer explained, and too troublesome to attack directly. That's what we've been trying to do, John said. You've done well, Nexer agreed. But the Council is moving faster than normal. Something about Earth has made them desperate to control it. Our energy, John suggested. Perhaps, Nexer said. Whatever it is, they are preparing for something unusual. My sensors detect Council battleships gathering at the edge of your system. The news of battleships approaching pushed world leaders to make a decision. After an emergency session of the United Nations that lasted 18 hours, they reached agreement. Earth would give its answer to the Council, but on their own terms. We request a formal hearing before the full Council, John told Val the next morning. Val's color shifted to a light blue. That is highly unusual. The protection agreement is a standard matter handled by representatives. Earth is clearly not a standard case, John replied. You have 12 ships here and battleships approaching. We want to address all council members directly. Val consulted with his superiors via a private communication device. When he finished, he looked troubled. The council has agreed to your request. The hearing will take place in 3 days aboard our main vessel. You may bring 5 representatives. As Val left, Diane spoke quietly to John. This is risky. We'll be on their ship, completely at their mercy. True, John agreed. But it's the only way to address all council factions at once. Kate's analysis shows at least 3 different groups with different opinions about Earth. For the next 3 days, John's team prepared carefully. They gathered all their research on council species, laws, and technologies. They coordinated with military forces around the world, ready for any outcome, and they continued secret communications with Nexer of the Solari, who provided valuable advice. On the day of the hearing, John selected his delegation: himself, Kate, Paul, Maya, and Diane. They wore simple black suits with small Earth flag pins as their only decoration. The Solari ship escorted them to the main council vessel, a massive structure that dwarfed even their large diplomatic ships. Inside, they were led through gleaming corridors to an enormous circular chamber. The council chamber took their breath away. Hundreds of different alien species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some looked almost human. Others were completely different, floating orbs of light, tall insect-like beings, creatures that seemed made of living crystal. The full Galactic Council, Paul whispered. I had no idea there were so many different species. A tall alien with golden skin stood at a central podium. This special session is called to order. Earth representatives will now hear the formal offer of protection and give their response. Val stepped forward and officially presented the protection agreement, listing its terms exactly as before. When he finished, the golden alien spoke again. The terms are clear. Will Earth accept the Council's protection? John walked to the center of the platform. The eyes of hundreds of alien species watched him. Before I answer, he said calmly, I would like to share what we've learned about the Council. A murmur ran through the assembled aliens. We know that Earth is classified as a Class A energy world. We know that Council ships have already begun harvesting our unique energy without consent or compensation. We know that similar protection agreements have resulted in other worlds becoming resource colonies with no path to full membership. The golden alien looked displeased. These matters are not relevant to your response. They are entirely relevant, John countered, because they reveal the true purpose of this offer. This is not protection. It is acquisition. The chamber erupted in discussion. John could see different reactions among the council members. Some seemed angry, others uncomfortable, a few nodded in agreement. When the noise settled, the golden alien spoke again, voice cold. Your interpretation is incorrect. The Council brings order and advancement to primitive worlds. Now, what is Earth's answer to our offer? Will you accept our protection? John stood tall, facing the hundreds of alien representatives. He thought of everything his team had discovered, of Earth's history of fighting for freedom, of humanity's potential future among the stars. He spoke a single word, his voice clear and firm throughout the massive chamber. No. The council chamber exploded into chaos. Many aliens rose from their seats, shouting in various languages. Some pounded appendages on their stations. Others sat in stunned silence. The golden alien struggled to restore order. This response is unacceptable. You cannot simply refuse. John stood calmly in the center of the storm. We just did. The chaos in the council chamber continued for several minutes. John and his team stood calmly in the center as the golden alien tried to restore order. Silence. The golden alien finally shouted, using some kind of amplification technology that made the chamber vibrate. This is unprecedented. A tall blue alien rose from a high tier. Perhaps we should hear why they refuse. There is no need, the golden alien said. Their answer is unacceptable. Standard protocol for refusal is clear. Kate stepped forward to join John. We know your standard protocol involves manufactured disasters followed by forced protection. We've seen what happened to Terrace. She activated a small device in her hand. Screens around the chamber displayed images of council ships creating storms and earthquakes on a distant world, followed by council forces taking control for the safety of survivors. We accessed your restricted files, Kate explained, and we shared this information with every spacefaring species not under your direct control. The chamber erupted again. John could see angry arguments breaking out between different council factions. The blue alien spoke again. Is this true? Have we been deceiving new worlds? Necessary measures for galactic stability, the golden alien insisted. Paul joined his colleagues. We've studied your laws thoroughly. There are alternatives to your protection agreement. Article 726 allows for mutual defense pacts that respect sovereignty. Maya added, we've already developed medical treatments that could benefit several council species, including a potential solution for Centauri genetic degradation. We offer these freely as potential partners. Diane completed their circle. And should any force threaten Earth, they will find humans united and determined. We prefer cooperation, but we will never surrender our freedom. A new voice spoke from the gallery. It was Nexer of the Solari. The Solari Cooperative would welcome Earth as a trading partner, regardless of council decisions. Other aliens began to speak up. One floating orb of light announced that their federation would also be interested in independent relations with Earth. A tall insect-like being clicked that humanity's creative problem-solving could provide valuable new perspectives. The golden alien looked increasingly agitated. This is not proper procedure. Earth must either accept protection or face the consequences. What consequences? John asked clearly. Attacking a world that has made a reasonable counteroffer would violate your own founding principles. The blue alien and several others nodded in agreement. He speaks truth. The human has studied our ways well. For the next hour, the council debated among themselves. Different factions argued loudly, some supporting Earth's right to choose its own path, others insisting on following traditional protocols. Finally, the golden alien spoke again, color dimmed in what seemed like resignation. The council must make a decision. We will vote on Earth's status. The vote was close. Many council species still wanted Earth under their control. But when the final tally appeared on the screens, a slim majority had voted to accept Earth's rejection of the protection agreement and consider alternative arrangements. This is highly irregular, the golden alien said coldly. But the council has spoken. Earth may remain independent for now. This hearing is concluded. As John and his team were escorted back to their shuttle, Val approached them. His color had changed to a deep green John had never seen before. You have changed something today, Val said quietly. In 10,000 years, no species has simply said no and made it stand. John smiled slightly. Humans can be stubborn about our freedom. The council will not forget this, Val warned. Some will seek to overturn this decision. And we'll be ready, John replied. Back on Earth, celebrations broke out as news of the council's decision spread. Many challenges remained. Negotiating fair agreements, building alliances with friendly species, preparing defenses against those who might still threaten Earth. But humanity had won the right to face those challenges on their own terms. 1 month later, Earth welcomed representatives from 26 independent worlds, including the Solari, to begin discussions on a new type of galactic association, one based on mutual respect rather than dominance and submission. In the new chamber built for these meetings, a simple plaque commemorated how it all began. It displayed just one word in large letters. No. Below it, in smaller text, the word that changed humanity's destiny among the stars.